Hi cakers! Today I'm sharing with you a buttercream flower wreath cake. I absolutely love making buttercream flowers and so many of you have been requesting to see a flower wreath cake. Subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on any of our new lessons. There's going to be lots of buttercream and lots of flowers happening in the coming weeks, but right now I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful wreath cake. So to make these flowers, I'm using our sweet buttercream recipe. I've added the details below in the description so that you can check out the video and the recipe for that. And I've made it in some beautiful pastel shades of pink, peach and purple. I also have some just in the natural buttercream color as well as some pale green. I've gone ahead and placed piping tips into our bags. Again, I've added a detailed list below of every single color that I used as well as the tip size that went along with it. But basically we're using two different sizes of a petal tip. I have my trusty 104, which you know I love, on every single color, except the purple has a 406, which is just basically like a gigantic version of it. I have some Wilton number 7 flower nails here, as well as some extra piping tips I'll cover shortly, and we have lots and lots of little parchment squares to pipe our flowers onto. And lastly, I have just a cookie tray. You can use anything that you like at all, Tupperware container lids, pretty much anything that you can find around the house that you can place safely into your fridge, because you want these to set up nice and firm before you place them onto the cake. Now the first shade that I'm going to be piping with is my darker pink, and I'm going to be using this to create some beautiful simple roses. The first thing you need to do is just attach a little bit of buttercream to it and place some parchment paper on, smoothing it down, and that's just so that it won't move around at all. Now making sure that I'm holding the piping bag where the biggest part of the piping tip is at the bottom and the smallest bit is at the top. I'm just going to do a quick wriggle to make a cone shape. And you're going to do a quick turn all the way around the flower, and just like our flowers that we do on our cupcakes, you go around little rainbow shapes, starting with 4 on your first row and then adding a third row. And this time we're fanning it out. And there you have your beautiful rose. Apply some more parchment paper. Do a little wriggle. Loop it around. And then do little windscreen wipers. 4. Then 5 in your next row. And flaring it out for your final row. And I also like to leave some just as buds to help fill in any spaces between the flowers. And then I just take the parchment paper off, place it onto our cookie sheet, and once we have an entire collection, we're going to pop it into the fridge. The next flower I'm going to be working on is our beautiful purple closed rose. So I'm using a 406 piping tip. And I'm just going to repeat the same process, but this time I want all of our petals to lean in just a little. Now with all of these flowers, I'm moving from right to left because I'm left-handed. Most people who are right-handed do find that it's much easier to move from left to right, but give both directions a go and just see what's comfortable for you. Now to make our Queen of Denmark rose, you do the same little wriggle at the start. Then you're going to place your piping tip straight up and down, and you're going to wriggle around, keeping it as small as you can. From there, you're going to go round and just circle that with nice smooth petals that are quite long. Now to do our final flower, we're going to start with our green for the ranunculus, building a little cone, and then we're going to come across very closed in and make 4 petals for our first row. Then we're going to switch to our white and do a row of 5. It's also very closed in. Another row, leaning in just a little bit, and finally a row that comes out. Finally, I'm making some blossoms with our pale peach. If you want to see these in more detail, see our blossom cake. It's a beautiful design and we show you this in lots of detail. And once you have a tray full, you can pop it into the fridge. So while our flowers have been resting, I've done a final coat of smooth buttercream onto an 8-inch round cake. So I'm just going to take my pale pink, which is the same color as the cake, and I'm just going to pipe around the edge, not all the way at the edge, just off by about 1/2 inch or 1 centimeter. And I'm just going to pick up my flowers, unstick them from the parchment, and I'm going to place some of them leaning outwards and some of them leaning in. And then to fill in some larger gaps, I just place some buttercream and then taking some of our blossoms and placing them on top. And then taking my 352 leaf piping tip, I'm going to pipe some leaves. This time I'm going to squeeze and allow a bit more of a wriggle just to give them some more texture. You can also see us do another variety of leaves in our buttercream blossom cake. And I'm going to add the final touches using a number 2 tip to pipe some of our plain white buttercream into the center of those blossoms. And there you go guys, we have our beautiful flower wreath cake. I hope you really enjoyed this lesson. There are so many more beautiful buttercream flowers that I'm going to be sharing with you in these tutorials over the next few weeks and months. So be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our lessons.